hope it works. Much like a flight from Moscow to St. Petersburg. You hope you make it there alive. Yes, neat. Alright, oh, we are alive. Greetings, humans, greetings, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode. Bear here, 29-year veteran of the woods. You know, you don't normally wake up one day and say, you know, I'm going to take on Sulu, Mr. Sulu out there. Star Trek legend, but today is that day, people. It is debate time. That's right. Between George Takei and El Barro here. Mano y Barro. Doing the battle out there. Great to have everyone here. What a great show we have for everyone here planned. Great to see Amy, Melissa, as well as always. Grant, he says hello, ladies. Hello, ladies out there. And even AP Money, if it is him. He says, hello all. Wait a second. Is Berg going to debate Sulu or George? That would be George Takei. Because I'm fine with him mocking George, but leave my Sulu alone. No, we're not going to go... We're going to defame Sulu out here. Although how he got his captainship was a little shady, but we will leave that. We'll leave that for another time, people. No, we're actually going to talk... Oh boy, the battle royale between Bear and Mr. Sulu. But let's go first. We actually got, before we get into the serious stuff, let's have a little bit of fun here with some campaign updates for you good people. Let me figure out where the hell Bear is, what is going on. P-Money says, my wife heard the and yelled from the bedroom, hi, Bear. Well, hello, Mrs. P-Money. I hope the vacation treated her very well and she is very relaxed. Much like a Joe Biden coming back from one vacation to Hawaii and then coming back to another vacation. Hopefully she is very well rested out there. And great to have all the P-Monies here. All of the monies here. How sad George can't leave behind his hate, says Grant. Well, if you look in the description, you can kind of jump ahead of Bear a little bit. We'll be talking a little bit about that in just a moment. Let's go ahead, bring up some campaign news. Campaign news for you good people out here. Let's see, where am I? The thing with the thing. There we go. Here we are. And congratulations, Uncle Lee. Let's see, $524,000. Coming up on 525, people. Okay. Get there pretty quickly, one would imagine. So go check that out if you haven't already. Also, John Malin's thing, he's got that. Both of those are in the descriptions. There's probably a couple others Bear is forgetting out there, but go check that out. Either on Indiegogo or Fund My Comic. Either or. Either or, people. Either or. Alright, where am I? The thing with the thing here. We got an update from Graham. He says, hey, Ghost Gang. Hey, Graham. He has now completed 44 pages, and that means 16 more pages to go. And then he's El Dono, El finished. As many of you know, I have not been doing any streaming for a few weeks, with the exception of the Brofessionals. I'll go check that out, people. Good stream there. So as to focus on getting pages done. I'm already behind because two Joe Frankenstein campaigns that needed to be shoehorned into the schedule. How terrible, sir. How terrible. But the good news is that I'm into the meat and potatoes of the story. And that's where all the fun is happening. Yeah, that's usually meat and potatoes. That's going to have some fun. I can't share too much stuff at this point without spoiling things, but here is a cool page. Let's check out this cool page. Actually, that was from last time. There's some cool pages there. He's got some cool pages there. But let's see the brand new page. He's got a brand new page there. Looking pretty good. I'm actually liking the black and white. It looks good, number one, and I like the negative space in there. I like how he's treating some of the negative space in there. A lot of people could just, like where they're walking there, they could fill up the background with a whole bunch of stuff. No, just leave it blank. It actually looks pretty good. I'm not sure if he's putting this out in black and white or not, but hopefully he has an option. Bear will have to go and double check this. Also, I'm not sure if this was a cover or if it's just a really bombing page, but there you go. There's some good stuff from Graham Nolan out there. And the guy, sing it with, Bear. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That would be the ghost. The ghost of Matecumbe. The ghost of Matecumbe, people. You gotta hold that. You gotta hold the. You gotta hold it. You can't get. If you think you're about ready to give up, give it like 2 more seconds. You just gotta continue the whole time there. Otherwise, it's not the ghost. You just say, the ghost of Matecumbe. No, you gotta do the. I think that's a native tradition, if Bear remembers correctly. Yes, indeed. Amy says, Bear has lots of fans up north. I sure hope so. P-Money says, I can think of 4 fans in my household alone. Well, they better be liking. Better hit that like button, P-Money. There we go. Amy is singing along, holding the note as long as she can. Bears have a peerless breath control. That's true. Oh, here we go for P-Money. Go ahead and hit that record button. I wonder if Bear needs a new theme song tonight. That would be Bear Star Trek debates. We're not debating Star Trek. Star Trek is awesome. Much better than Star Wars, people. That's Bear's spicy hot take tonight. There we go. So there is a Graham. Looks like some great stuff. Some awesome stuff there, in fact. I don't know if this is a cover or not, but hopefully it is. He should just leave it black and white. That looks really good. Good job, Graham. Keep up the good work. We don't need streaming all the time. We need artists in action. Unless you're on a live stream drawing, then we will allow it, people. We will allow it. Well, going from one great out here to another. From one bear to another, that'd be Art T-Bear out here. He's got an update for black and white. Man versus machine versus bear. I meant man versus machine. There's no... Maybe that might be on the third one there. He says it's a big art reveal. I hope everyone is doing well. Well, it is hella hot here. Hella hot. That is a meteorological condition. Not just hot, but hella hot. So hot your boots might get a little hot. Well, not that hot. I just got off a live stream where I showed a bunch of black and white volume 2 artwork to the viewers. If you missed it, there is the link right there. You can go check. Oh, let me see if I can copy and paste this. Do the thing with the thing. Copy. Let's see if this works. People. For crying out loud. Why does that have to do stupid Indiegogo? Never mind, people. You can go check it out. I believe it's on Art's stream. It might have been... it might have been on Aaron Lepresti's show? I could be wrong here. Anyways, he says here are a few pages that he didn't show on the live stream. So we've actually got a couple here. Check him out. We've got this nice one in black and white, and then he's got this in color as well, so you can kind of tell the difference there. I'm trying to remember who was doing the coloring on this, but it looks really good. I think he's doing some really great coloring on there. On to the Art T-Bear inks. That's got to be tough, people. You're working with a master there, and you're putting over some colors on top of that. You're like, it's like painting on top of the Mona Lisa. You gotta know what the hell you're doing there. So there's those two. Yes, it is nice, Melissa. It is very nice out there. A couple more here. I like how he did the black. We've seen the black and white before, I think, where they're fighting. I think they're at like an airport or something. Looks like an airport, possibly. trying to get onto that Wagner plane. Or maybe off of it, one or the other there. Anyway, some great. I think the coloring on this one really brings out the scene. Like the black and white, it looked real busy to Bear. The coloring, it adds like layers to it, so you kind of have more of a depth to it, almost like a 3D kind of effect there. Looks really good. Looks really good. Blasting some bots there. So there you go. Pretty cool, man. Let's see. Did I have another one? Here? Oh no, that's Dragon Guard. That is a Dragon Guard. But anyways, that is Art T Bear. Let's see. Does he have anything else? 1 second, people. The thing with the thing. He says, thanks. And we are only, people, only 3 pages away from finishing up the pencils and ink. So, let's see, when did he send this? I think he sent this today. No, 2 days ago. So hopefully he's coming up pretty close here. That would be Art T Bear. I don't know. Can we do a song? Art T Bear. Nah, it doesn't work. But go check it out, people. If you haven't checked out Black and White. What were you doing? Sleeping? Were you hibernating? That's what bears do. You shouldn't be doing that. Although Bear does need his 8 hours. You can't. It doesn't get too cold down here in Florida, so there's not like a whole lot of hibernation time. But I tell you, every evening Bear's got to get his beauty rest in there, all 8 hours. Otherwise, it's looking pretty funky there, looking pretty ugly. You don't want to wake up Bear in the morning if he hasn't got his full 8 hours out there, people. Not at all. All right, moving. Got this in the last couple minutes, so didn't get a chance to put it into the description there. But we've got something from your boy Zach. He says, "Hi everyone." Hi, your boy. A New Kind of War by William Jordan. Now, you probably know him as the critical drinker out there. And Kenneth Lowe, who did Knife Hand Blind Spot, has been sent to the printers. Yay! Actually, hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Does Bear have that on here? I just want to see how much they've made here. Let me see. Where did I put that? Once, I apologize, people. Bear is on a side rant here. Let's see. I had it somewhere here. There we go. $226,000. Congratulations, sir. So there you go. Doing well out there. Anyways, a critical drinker out there. He is doing the second book. So First Kill is your boy Zach's book, and then he had either an add-on or as a separate book out there. What was the name of this? The New Kind of War. So critical drinker is writing that. He says, your boy says here, I really have to commend Will, a critical drinker, for how well he adapts to the comic book style of writing. Most people who start out writing comics feel a compulsive need to put dialogue or captions in every panel. Yeah, we were talking about that with Mike's book, like the kid trips and falls and then he hits his head and says, ow. It's like, you don't need ow. We know he hit his head. I'm sure it hurts. You don't need him to say ow. Will is really good at varying it up. He says, I hope to see more comics written by him in the future. Wow, that would be something, wouldn't it? Anyways, he says, thanks. And that's from Richard. So there you go. Some people might not like the sort of watercolor style, but no, I kind of like this. I think it looks really, really well out there. Let's see. Jiminy says, good to see Jiminy here. P-Money must be drunk on maple syrup. Of course, he's a Canadian. I mean, duh. Yeah. What? Yeah. Duh. There we go. Hey, Jiminy. All this sort of stuff. There we go. Why did P-Money say his last name twice? I don't know. That is a question for the ages. Question for the ages. All right, people, including what we have here. What we have here today, people. The great debate between Sulu and Bear out here. Sulu and Bear. So, actually, I need to let me do one thing real quick. I gotta get a couple lights going here for just a second. So, bear with Bear for one moment here. Talk amongst your shells, people. Ah, god dang it, not that. Ah, for crying out loud. I did one thing and does it completely differently. Ah, that's alright. That's okay. We'll get it. It's not like people are waiting on you, Bear. No. Not at all. Alright, there we go. There we are. I do the thing with the thing. Get a drink. All that good stuff. There we go. Today's beverage is brought to you by water. Water is cheap and it is free. Free, people. There we go. Fight, fight, fight. Bear just turned around and all of a sudden it's a fight going on. Oh, for crying out loud, people. I tell you, man. I tell you. Bacon in a drink? Oh, what the heck? Bear turns around. And there we go. Has Bear taken on Mr. Sulu yet? No, we just started. We just literally started here. We're going through some campaign updates. But since you asked here, let me see, where am I? Here we go. Bear will figure out the OBS one of these days. So we had actually a couple extra books that Bear was going to talk about. Kind of, miscellaneous books that Bear had in the bookshelf. I'm finally getting pretty close to getting everything organized. Knock on wood here. And then we'll just kind of do a quick overview of some of the stuff that we're going to be taking to the library here in just a little bit. So we'll go through that, just make sure there's no untold, nudity or anything like that that's in there. I don't think so, but gotta double check. But anyways, Abductables. One of the first books that Bear got there was the Abductables. Good stuff. By Canalis, trying to remember his first name. Gosh, you don't see him around too much anymore. Anyways, good book. Go check that out. If you can, I don't even know if you can get that anymore. I don't even know where you would go get it. Well, you can buy it from Bear for a pretty high price in salmon, that's for sure. I had that one, let's see, Trump Space Force. There we go. Got that more for the Chuck Dixon thing than anything else. There. Amy says, I hope your shelf and you patch things up very soon. I sure hope so. I see. P-Money says, my shelf and I aren't talking. My shelf knows why. Ooh, that's spicy. That'll be pretty interesting there. Anyways, instead of doing that, let me pull it up here because I tell you, people, there is 100 different news stories that Bear could have went to and could have done it in 100 different ways here. But you know what? He's going to take it on. He is going to take on George Takei out here. And that's right, people. That's right. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get right to it, people. From Bounding, good folks out here at Bounding into Comics, John F. Trent, a laughing George Takei. You won't be laughing anymore, sir. Not after Bear's done. Star Trek actor George Takei believes opposition to child body mutilation can lead to World War II internment camps. Okay, so if you're not a long-time Barely Live watcher or listener, one of the first times Bear did a couple live shows to kind of start things off, and they didn't work that well, and kind of took a break for a little while. Decided to come back after the whole Gina Carano situation. We'll get into that in just a minute here, but that kind of just ticked Bear off just a little bit there, where she was kind of talking about how, essentially, how large organizations, large governments can dehumanize groups of people, and basically have the population turn against another group without the government or large company or whatever ever saying so. They might put out the conditions, but they never say so. So that was her sort of thing that she was talking about. Long before the bad Germans came in, there was a lot of dehumanization, a bunch of different groups out there that wasn't very good. So anyways, Bear decided to talk just a little bit about that because he knows. Not like Mr. Takei here. He is not, he did not live it. He did not live it. Mr. Takei, his family, unfortunately, and let's just state this right off the record here for everybody. You never want to see anybody go to an internment camp, whether they're Japanese or, whatever ethnicity or race or whatever. You don't want to have that. So Bear has a little bit of knowledge, not a lived experience, but a little bit of knowledge here about the internment camps and whatnot. So we actually had, when Bear kind of came back to do his live shows, he was doing a series called It Can't Happen Here, taken off of the book, although we were talking about Japanese internments, World War II, yada, yada, yada. So that's basically how some of the live shows goes. Bear was trying to get through his screenplay that he had, so we did it. Figured, hey, it's going to take a little bit to get through all these screenplays, so let's do a show every Wednesday and Saturday to kind of get through it real quick. So, if you ever wondered why Bear does shows on Wednesday and Saturday, that's actually where it comes from. That's actually where it comes from. Let's see. P-Money says, cause the bad Germans out there hated mutilating people. Let's get right on into it. Here. Star Trek actor George Takei, aka Sulu out here, recently shared his belief that opposition to child body mutilation can lead to World War II internment camps. Well, it wouldn't lead to World War II internment camps because World War II is over and done with for, I don't know, what, 75 years or so, 80 years, something like that. So it's been done for quite a while. So it wouldn't be World War II internment camps, but it might be internment camps of some kind, of some manner. So let's see what he has to say here. Takei shared his thoughts as part of his Substack, The Big Picture. Oh, we're all subscribed. Which he teased on Twitter. He initially wrote, well, let's see it here. Despite decades of advocacy for the LGBTQ rights, the troubling pattern of scapegoating persists. As someone who's experienced a forced relocation as a child, the sense of deja vu is deeply unsettling. It's crucial that we learn from history. I couldn't agree more on that one. Push for change and use our votes to secure a better future. I'm sure voting D all the way down. I'm pretty sure of that. P-Money says, and I've never forgiven your screenplay for the sushi dog twist. Well, there you are. Hey, speaking of dogs, there you go. There you are, right there in the tweet there from Mr. Takei. So, you're on point there, P-Money. On point, sir. Yes, well, that's what happens sometimes in some screenplays out there. You get the feels. You get right in the feels, people. That's where you know you've written something pretty good. In the body of the article, Takei recounted his personal experience of being imprisoned in a... Now, I'm glad they did this. Okay, there's a lot of people that would just use internment camps, which is correct. Don't get Bear wrong. Concentration camp actually is the technical term for you're concentrating a ethnicity. So, for example, in the United States, we concentrated the Japanese into certain camps out there, concentration camps. Unfortunately, everybody takes concentration camps and thinks of the bad Germans in World War II over in Europe. Technically, they had a different variety of different people. It wasn't just Jewish. Especially later in the war, you had a lot of POWs from Russia, so they were kind of intermingled there together. But everybody comes out, terrible stuff, showers, smoke back, all that sort of stuff. They concentration camp. That's what everybody thinks. But yeah, they did a good job. I think Mr. Apologize here. Mr. Trent did it right on cue here. Let's see, he recounted his personal experience of being imprisoned in a concentration camp, there you go, after the Japanese attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor in December 1941. Actually, it was a little bit after that. It was 1942, I think, spring, early summer. I think some of the people didn't get to the camps until, I think it was right around August, September. I remember Heart Mountain was August... might have been 14th or something like that. So there you go. He explained this was done because, quote, President FDR needed to prove he was tough on the Japanese. Not quite there, sir. Not quite. But okay, let's go with that. From there, Takei described this as scapegoating. Which he defines as, quote, a convenient target for politicians, a way to whip up hate and bigotry to win elections. Well, the elections happened in 1940, but okay, we'll go with that. A place to lay blame where none should lay. It meant hate, vilification, injustice, and even the very power of the state turned upon us. Tell that to Gina Carano out there. Tell that to Gina Carano. But yes, completely agree. Completely agree out here. Which, by the way, let me just go here. Let me just go and show. So Bear can do his bona fides as well here. So where am I? There we go. Oh, I need to take that off. There we go. So here is Bear's bona fides right here. So Bear wouldn't be called what's called a subject matter expert out there. He's not. Bear is not a historian. He's not. He doesn't have a PhD or a master's degree in the Japanese internment or anything like that. But Bear would know the questions to ask any subject matter expert on all the things. So a little bit of bona fides here, looking into World War II, all that sort of stuff. So this is actually a book. Your French is better than Bear's here, but directly from the Brières here. Actually, I think I got it here. Yeah, there we go. That's the kind of the area that we're talking about here in France. Let's see, can we show that? France. There's that. A little bit closer up, so. A bunch of major battles there. And Mr. Mulan. There we go. There he is. There you go. Good guy. Unfortunately, he died right before Pierre was able to get to talk to him there. But there we go. I got this in Brières, so it's all in French there. Some good stuff. Good stuff there. But there you go. There's that. Bona fides number 2. Directly from Pearl Harbor, directly from the 442 100th Infantry. This was their 50th anniversary celebration in 1992. This is their book there that they had. Not too many people have this book. Family, definitely family, maybe some acquaintances, whatnot there. 442 100th Infantry. Segregated battalions in World War II. We're just doing the cliff notes here, people. Segregated battalion, think of Tuskegee Airmen, although these guys were Army. Ended up fighting in some of the greatest battles, not only in World War II, but in U.S. Army history. Had the most awards of any unit. 12, 15... presidential Medal of Freedoms, dozens and dozens of Purple Hearts, a whole bunch of other stuff. So this is all that stuff. So it's got a bunch of family stuff in there. Who was the Nisei soldier? If it could focus. There we go. So there's part of all that, and including from Mr. Mulan here. U.S. Samurais in Briere. There we go. This is a thick book, people. You can see all the markings that Bear had on the book here as he's going through it. So, anyways, there is Bear's bona fides. Not too much on the internment. Had already started a number of that stuff, so I don't have too much of that stuff with me here. But just right off of the bookcase here, there you go. So Bear knows a thing or two about internment. The Japanese internment, that is. Let's see, P-Money says, as a Canadian, let me see if I got it right. Two presidents during World War II were Roosevelt and Truman. That is true, sir. That is true. Roosevelt died in office in 45. April? Might have been March, late March, early April. The war ended in mid-April, if Bear remembers correctly. Mid to late April there. So, yeah, so Truman just essentially just kind of placeholder over the war in Europe, and of course dropped the bomb in Japan, unfortunately. Mr. Takei, sorry, sir. So yeah, there you go. There is that. I used to read dozens of books on World War I and II Flying Aces. There you go. There you go. Well, this is Army here, more Army stuff, but fun stuff. If you ever want to go figure out what it's all about, go check out Bear's. We'll try and leave a link or something like that, but go check out the playlist for It Can't Happen Here, and you will cry too, much like P-Money out there. All right. Anyways, back to the debate here. Back to the debate. Let's see. So, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who is beloved by all those people on the left, threw a bunch of Japanese people into the internment camps. Now, where Mr. Takei is a little bit off here, when he's talking about a convenient target for politicians, way to whip up hate and bigotry to win elections. Again, it was in 1940, so 41, December 41 was when Pearl Harbor happened. So what happened Hawaii is a little bit different, so I'm just going to put Hawaii off to the side. Most people don't know Hawaii at the time was a territory. They basically came in, knocked on the door of the governor of Hawaii and says, the Army did. Army came in and says, "Hi, Governor. A great state you have here. Thanks for all your work. Take care. We'll be taking it over from here." So for the next 4 years, Hawaii was a military dictatorship. Most people don't know that. It's true, people. It's true. But in the Americans, the California, Oregon, the West Coast out there. What am I trying to say here? The landlubbers out there. The mainland out there. So what they had was a combination of fear. Number one, people were really scared that the Japanese were going to invade the country and all this stuff. If you ever want to go check out 1941 by Steven Spielberg. Not a great movie, but you'll understand what's going on, all the situation. Number two, most people don't know this, but the Japanese that they brought over from, obviously, Japan, they came, and most of them, if they weren't in the fishing industry, were in the agricultural industry. So they came to California, set up, this is over, a generation or two, set up, had some great farmland and everything. So you had some white farmers out there in California and other places that were getting a little jealous of all these little slanty-eyed fellas out there that were actually probably doing a little bit better job of farming. So thanks to Mr. FDR here, President FDR, basically all that land was confiscated and given over to all the other farmers out there. So there was a political benefit there to appropriating land that people don't really talk about with FDR. But there you go. There is Mr. Takei's presentation of it here. That's why you got Bear. That's why you got Bear here to figure all this Um, oh, okay. P Money says he found it. Let me see. Speaking of Hawaii and Japan, I always found it near with Mike Miller's ancestry that his grandparents fought on different sides of the war. You had it in the German and Italian sides as well. Found that neat. One grandparent fought with Hawaii and the other fought with Japan. Really, I'll have to ask him about that. I'm wondering, essentially what happened is you had plenty of Japanese 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that were enlisting in the military right up to World War II. They stopped that. They says, okay, we can't have Japanese people fighting in the Pacific. That's crazy. So what they did was they initially brought a lot of the people that were on Hawaii. That became the 100th Infantry. Later on in the war, they needed more people to fill out because, quite frankly, they were dying. They entered Italy first. They went up through Italy, fought a whole bunch of campaigns, the Po campaign, Sicily, all that sort of stuff, if you're familiar with that. Lost a number of people, had to bring in new, essentially green recruits to kind of fill the ranks. So if you've been following the Ukraine-Russia war, same deal. Hey, you're a warm body, come here. So they're actually bringing people out of the internment camps, concentration camps, whatever, to come help fight for the American side. They were all over in Europe, so that's the 442 when they grew up bigger. So I'm wondering if he was part of some of that. That'd be very interesting. Very interesting. It all kind of comes to a circle here in Comicsgate. Even though Mike's not part of Comicsgate, but that's right. Next, he claimed, this is George Takei, looking shocked. He claims this, quote, scapegoating is happening again to the, quote, wonderful, joyous, yet so often misunderstood and reviled LGBTQ++++ community. Letters that represent a veritable rainbow of sexual and gender identities. Really, Bear lives in Florida. Has never come across anybody that says, I don't like them gay people out there, or we need to put them into internment camps. I literally could not find. You would have a billboard that would say, hey, stop here if you think this, and nobody would stop. Literally nobody would stop. As evidence of his claim, Takei points to, here we go, Florida Governor be Ron Red Rum Death Santis out there, a.k.a. Meatball Ron. Armed with a dangerous tropes from over 50 years ago where gay and trans people are labeled as groomers. No, we're just worried about actual groomers. I don't care about gay or trans people. Who are a danger to children. Wily politicians such as Ron Red Rum Death Santis of Florida began a campaign to drive us out. Really? To erase our families and identities in education, in library books, and in our own communities. Sir, no one is driving anyone out of the state of Florida. More people are moving to Florida. We've had like 3 million people move to Florida in like the last year or so. All the big cities, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, blah, 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 blah. They are all just booming with population. There are people that are leaving, yes. I think one of the best well-known ones is Dwayne Wade and what's his wife's name? I'm trying to. She's an actress. She hasn't been in anything in forever. Oh, Gabrielle Union. They are leaving the state because they have a trans child. I guess that's the best way to describe it. They are making a big deal about leaving the state of Florida. Oh, we gotta leave. That's so terrible. Okay. All right. Have a nice time. You played great for the Heat a number of years ago. Thank you, Mr. Wade. I hope the best to you, sir, and good luck with the sale of your house. I'm sure it's going to go Really, really quickly, sir. Really quickly. No one is driving anyone out of the state of Florida. To erase our families and identities in education. Nobody is doing that whatsoever. There is what's labeled Adult Say Gay bill. That is not anywhere close to. Beer's here in Florida right now. Hello, gay? Oh my God, they're knocking down the door. Ah, they're gonna come get beer. No, it's fine. We can say gay. We can say. In fact, Beer heading down to Tampa a couple weeks ago, they had a big billboard. We can say gay in Florida, Mr. DeSantis. And it stayed up. There's nobody that's taken it down. There's nobody that's. You can't say that. I'm gonna lawsuit. Nobody's doing that at all. Nobody's calling for that. Nobody has any inclination of doing any of that. It goes on in library books and in our own communities. They even targeted retail stores that supported us during our month of Pride. Is that, sir? Would that be Targets? Because they targeted Targets, is what you're saying. Because their name is Target, and they have a giant Target on their store. But they didn't do that. They did that because they put a bunch of stuff at the very front of the store that had, what was it? Some sort of tucking clothes for kids? And it's like, no, if you have a transgender child or something like that, hey, go to the manager and ask, hey, do you have this product? Or maybe go online or something like that. You don't need to put it in the front of the store where everybody is walking past unless you have an agenda that you're trying to push on people. Had nothing to do with the month of Pride. By the way, Target's down what, like 20%? 20% quarter to quarter? So, the only people that are burning down Target stores are BLM and Antifa. Those are the only people that are taking out the Target stores out there. Let's see. P-Money asked, during the 40s, did the Japanese do a mass travel to America like what's happening to Florida? You might need to reword that one, P-Money. I'm not sure what you're asking there. Before World War II, so the period between, gosh, I think it was the 1920s? 1923, 24 Immigration Act. They basically cut off immigration from Japan and a couple of the other countries there. So all the people that came over to America came over before, whatever that was, 1923, 24, something like that. They actually stopped immigration into America. Believe it or not, people, you can do that. And it was legal. They stopped Japanese immigration and a lot of other immigration into the United States. Basically put a pause on it for a while. So you had first generation Japanese, which were called Issei. Those were the first generation. You came over on the boats from Japan or wherever, came into America, you're now American citizen. They were called Issei. Their children, their descendants, the second generation, where Mr. Takei comes from. I believe. I haven't done a bio on Mr. Takei here. He would be called the Nisei. So that's the second generation. So there wasn't a whole lot of movement here in the United States from Japan during that, 30 year period there. So there you go. Oh, you were being facetious. How dare you, sir? Saying if Florida was bad, why are people coming to Florida? I doubt the Japanese were traveling to America during the internment camps. Again, no, they weren't. They were unfortunately locked up. Unfortunately, a number of camps on the West Coast, there weren't any on the East Coast other than Arkansas. There might have been one or two in Texas, but most of them were on the West Coast there. They basically took the entire population away from the seaboard and moved them into the interior. Mr. Takei, I think, was in the Menands internment camp, and that was in that one was in California. I think that's near Lake Tahoe, if Bear remembers correctly. So no, there weren't anybody immigrating there. Let's see. And if the bill doesn't have a word gay, they took the letter G and the A and the Y and pasted them together. Pretty much. Pretty much. He then specifically attempts to defend body mutilation of it. Actually, let me go back. Let me go back here, since we're talking about education and library books and all that. Just so happened, Beer went and checked out. This would be the Tampa Bay Times and Marlene Sokol. Tampa Bay Times, very, I wouldn't say super left-wing, but pretty left-wing. Tampa Bay, we had the challenger to Governor DeSantis was Charlie Crist, who was actually our previous governor. Kind of weird. He's actually our previous Republican governor. Then he became a Democrat. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, he's from that area. He's from St. Pete, if Bear remembers correctly. So, Tampa Bay Times, definitely not on your boy Ron's side here. Florida board okays rules on controversial, as they say, new laws for schools. The regulations will determine how the state handles book challenges, enforces restroom use, and defines moral turpitude. So this is what Mr. Takei is talking about here. Grab a drink. Grab a drink. We're hitting him from the left and from the right, people. I will give George Takei credit. He's aged really well over the years. He doesn't look his age, says P-Money. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, again, we all... nothing against Mr. Takei and what he went through and his lived experience out there. We don't want any of that. Even though Bear completely 110% disagrees with Mr. Takei's political thoughts and feelings out there, completely 110% in agreement with him on education, on what happened, how to prevent it from happening in the future, all that good stuff. Florida's education officials Wednesday approved rules affecting book challenges and restroom use over passionate objections from speakers who are tired of culture wars and the laws that they inspired. Really, all three of them. By the way, how did Governor DeSantis get reelected if people were tired of all that? Maybe in Tampa. Some targeted the rule changes in their remarks, even though, as State Board of Education Chair Ben Gibson pointed out, their elected legislators passed the enabling laws months ago. For example, a new law allows parents to object to library materials at the school and district levels, and for a state magistrate to step in if the parent takes issue with the way these matters were resolved. Meeting in Naples, the board approved the accompanying rule unanimously. I mean, sounds like a hellscape. I mean, we are just loading people up onto train cars. Literally. Not literally at all. The speakers, however, blasted the book challenge process in general, saying it's leading to a loss of literature. Not really. At a time when state leaders are also working to identify and assist struggling readers. Well, maybe if you didn't force the kids to wear masks, number one, maybe if you didn't, try to close down the schools, maybe they would have learned a little bit better. Maybe instead of taking your vacations to whatever tropical island and doing a Zoom call for the kids, maybe just helping the kids instead, maybe that would have worked. Nah, not at all. These are not books in our youngest kids' classrooms for them to read, for teachers to be able to recognize who has a deficiency, says Stefia Farrell, a co-founder of the Florida Right to Read projects. We had a number of books that were very, very, very subjective. Subjective out there. Subjective out there. For all sorts of sexual stuff out there. I probably should have brought a list of them. Some really questionable stuff, number one, that has nothing to do with reading and has everything to do with indoctrination. Nobody's against teaching kids how to read. We want more kids to be able to read. In fact, by the way, since we're here, I wish I could give this book to the local library. It's Bear's only copy, and it's in French. So the kids might not want to learn that, but one of the things that Bear's doing was giving away books to the local library that people can read and check out, including books where Arnold Schwarzenegger knocks off can blast aliens. Yeah, I mean, how terrible of us. How terrible. Gosh, I don't want those kids to read. I want them to be a bunch of dummies out there. Crying out loud. Amy says, kids are having a hard enough time with that at school as it is. That's true. Kids learn to read with comics. Yeah, we've got a whole, gosh, I don't know how many. We'll do another show where we have the stack, where it's, you don't see, I'm not on camera here. It's a stack. It is a stack of books. Probably about, I think about at least 10 books that we're giving away there. So there you are. So not at all. And Bear's giving it to the local library, not to the school library. So, hey, if you want to drop your weird sexual books and whatever into the local library, I don't want you to do it. I think it's kind of weird, but go right ahead. But don't put it into elementary schools where that has no place whatsoever. Anyways, under the new rules, a magistrate steps in at the district's expense if a parent who filed a book challenge wants to voice concerns about the way the case was resolved at the district level. So if you have, hey, I don't think you should ban that book at all. Okay, a magistrate steps in and figures out, okay, should we do it or not do it? How is that internment camps? Critics, including several who contend the challenges limit access to the LGBTQ++++ content, said the rule is one-sided because those who did not want a book removed have no such appeal. It's a negative to a negative. I'm sorry. Kate Delaney Smazitz? Whatever. Women Voices of South Florida called the rule fascism with extra steps. That's so nice. Women's Voices of South Florida. So if you want your send your mail to Kate Delaney Smoltz, whatever, of Women's Voices of South Florida there. She acknowledged some parents disapprove of particular books and quotes, everyone has a right to have that voice. Okay, thank you. Problem solved. Oh, she continues. But now you're taking that voice away from queer parents like myself. Aha! And my partner. Well, we won't get into biology. Gibson explained that the magistrate does not relitigate whether the book is appropriate, but strictly investigates whether the district followed the process outlined in state law. Well, there you go. It's, do they have that policy and did they follow that policy? Wow, horrible. On to the cattle cars there. On to the cattle cars. The discourse continued as the board approved rules governing restroom use at state college buildings. Good Lord. I mean, do we really need that in 2023? Hey, if you're a dude, go in the dude's restroom. If you're a lady, go in the ladies' restroom. If you aren't sure, find the nearest bush, I guess. I don't know. Requiring students and staff to use facilities that conformed to their assigned gender at birth. The restroom bill will accompany rules now apply to private schools as well. Yeah, absolutely just like the internment camp. They're taking away those, not just the bathroom, their entire house. They're forcing people to liquidate every single piece of property that they can't carry with them, load them up onto a train, take them to parts unknown, force them to leave the train and walk up hills to their new abodes that are, essentially dormitories, where you're living like, 5 or 6 families to a building out there, just like that, and forcing them there under armed guard, where if anybody tried to run away, they were to be shot. That's exactly what's going on right now. Exactly what's going on. The state board also expanded the definition of what it will use for what the state law calls gross immorality and acts of moral turpitude in matters of teacher discipline. That definition will now include exposing school children to pornography and adult live performances. Again, just like going into the cattle cars and sending people away. And then, okay, you're going to be out there for 5 years, 4 years, whatever it was. See ya, bye. Just like that. Let's see. Commissioner Education Manny Diaz Jr. says, in Florida, we will continue to fight and protect our students and their innocence. So there you go. That is what George Takei thinks is what's going on in Florida here. They are trying to erase families and identities in education. In library books, they say, hey, we don't like this book, it should be removed. Well, I object to that. Well, did they follow the policies? Yeah, they kind of did, and this is kind of objectionable material. Let's take it out of the elementary school and maybe put it in the local library where all the weirdos can go look at it. Much like the internment camp. Much like it. He then specifically attempts to defend body mutilation of innocent children in the guise of transgender ideology. He says, quote, more ominously, in the name of, quote, protecting trans kids and in defiance of all expert opinion, politicians at the state level have banned critically necessary trans medical care. Where in any of that did you get any of that? No. All we're saying is, hey, you should reach the age of where you could vote to figure out whether or not your wang should be taken off or not. I think that's pretty reasonable, people. I think that's pretty reasonable. Leaving desperate parents and families without alternatives. There's plenty of alternatives. They're called the 49 other states that you guys can go to and have a blast. It was not only ignorant, but it was also deliberately cruel. Yeah, one of the things that we wanted for our politicians, we said, we want you to be cruel. We want you to be deliberately cruel. That's what we want. No. Falsely opined, I agree. And is leading, quote, he's saying here, and is leading to untold suffering for young people already burdened with the weight of successfully transitioning. They are a group that currently suffers the highest rates of suicide among teens. Well, let me join hands with Mr. Takei right here and say, we don't want any teens, whether they're transgender, whether they're queer, whether they're gay, whether they're lesbian, whether they're just nice, normal teens out there. We don't want any of them to do suicide. Please, if you are thinking of that, please go find some help out there. Go talk to somebody. Parents, friends, family, even teachers, I don't know, whatever. Go talk. Go talk to somebody out there that you know and trust. Please, but maybe, sir, if Bear can add his own little stink on this, maybe those young people that have had the bait and tackle chopped off, or something added to it, I don't know, maybe that might be the cause of their suicidal thoughts, sir. Maybe they had a bunch of people when they were very impressionable say that they should go do these things, and now that they're functionally adult, well, maybe not functionally, but now that they are adults, or now that they know the process that they went through, maybe they didn't want to go through that. And now there's no way to change that. I mean, sure, plastic surgery is great and all, but once you lose the bait and tackle, it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back, man. So maybe that's where they're confused, suicidal, all that sort of stuff. And maybe we should reach out to those folks and say, hey, before you go through this process, here are a couple people who have went through this. And they say, no, it was a terrible decision. But if you say that on Facebook, if you say that on anywhere else, You're a hater. You might even be banned. You might be shadow banned. When you want to help people, when you want to save people, Mr. Takei. Once again, with all due respect, sir, please. Next, Mr. Takei explicitly compares the World War II internment camps to states protecting children from violent, abusive, mutilation processes. I have seen where scapegoating, if left unchallenged, leads. And it leads to a very dark place indeed. Agreed. And I am alarmed at the fear-mongering and hate, particularly against the trans community, are just the beginning. Let's read that again. Let's read this again. I have seen where scapegoating, if left, read this in Gina Carano's voice. I have seen where scapegoating, if left unchallenged, leads, and it's a very dark place indeed. And I am alarmed at the fear-mongering and hate, particularly against the MAGA community, are just the beginning. Sir, talk to the people at the Capitol on January 6th that are still there. Sir, where they are, in that very dark place. That might be just the beginning. Sir, I know this, he says, because it was how it started with us 80 years ago. First the editorials, then the brutal restrictive rules, followed by the ire of our larger communities, which ultimately turned against us. Absolutely everything that Gina Carano said that got her fired. But George Takei can say it because he's talking about the LGBTQ+++. Yada, yada, yada. Try and look at it from the other perspective. Sir, I know you were there. I don't wish that on anybody. It was a horrible time in America. Horrible. Should never happen. And by the way, sir, and I know you know this, you know who did the reparations? Talk about reparations. You know who did the reparations when we took away all of your property, all that stuff? You know who did that? You know who the president was? That was Ronald Reagan, sir. I know you know that. Anyhow. Sorry, people. Don't mean to yell here. Let's get a little aggravated. He goes on to state that this could lead to industrialized mass murder. Sir, that's exactly what Gina Carano was talking about. That's exactly why Bear started. Go back and check the playlist out there. It's exactly what Bear was talking about. America is not somehow immune from these dark forces, he says. The kind that led to the horrors of, you know what, in Europe. Indeed, we have a long and terrible history of bringing the full power of the state behind the very laws that separate, discriminate, and punish based on differences in race or sexuality or politically, sir. George Takei is completely wrong. Opposing the mutilation of children is correct. And right decision no matter how much he tries to demonize those protecting the innocents. In fact, Takei's entire narrative is contrary to the truth of what is happening in the United States. Archbishop, God dang it. Mr. Trent, I do appreciate you bringing the story up. Great stuff. We don't need a distraction here. I appreciate the Catholic stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, blah, blah. We don't need that. We can confront him directly without bringing in Jesus and all this other stuff. Let's see. There are numerous other examples, and the government should indeed restrict these individuals from ruining the lives of children, he says. Restricting these heinous acts is just and right. It's not scapegoating, and preventing the mutilation of children through government action is in no way, shape, or form would lead to World War II style internment camps or industrial mass murder, as Mr. Takei suggests here. What do you make of Takei's comparison? We already talked about that, and that's where Bear's at, man. Bear's been there, done that. Been there, done that. That's why it ticks off Bear. I mean, Bear stood on the mounds out there in Germany. Bear knows what it's all about. He's been there, done that. And you have to be very, very, very careful whenever you talk about stuff like that, because you don't want to diminish what happened way back then. If you have a comparison, make sure that comparison is pretty legit. And especially somebody coming from, actually was in an internment camp, I say this with all due respect, but you were completely wrong, sir. Try doing that. Do you, sir, think that your ancestors would be down with all this? Do you think they would? Forget the ancestors. Do you think Japan today would be down with the gender mutilation of children under the age of 18? Do you think they would do that? Do you think the people of Japan would poo-poo Ron DeSantis, or do you think that they would say, hey, we're down with that. We like that guy. Eats pudding with his fingers, but you know what? On this issue, he's right on. Right on. So there you go, sir. There you are. There is Bear's response. Feel free to come back at Bear. Bear will more than happily engage, sir. More than happily. All right. Bear's rant here. He apologizes. Let me go back here to the chat here. Let's see. Bear, at some point, you may want to look at my area of Saskatchewan. Why? New sex ed law. Oh, the new Saskatchewan new sex ed laws. They aren't anywhere near the level of Florida, but people are already saying, this is Florida all over again. Everybody is... They can choose however they want. It's an entirely different country, much less a different state or province. So, hey, if Georgia wants to do something different, go right ahead. I mean, oh my God. Oh, we got to flee the hellhole that is Florida up to Georgia. Oh, okay, all right. Well, you're safe there. Nobody is blocking the gates. Nobody is rounding anybody up. Nobody is going door to door. We're going to take all your property and everything that you have, put everything on your back, and get into this van. We're taking you to the train station. And you're headed off to areas unknown. Where Bear went, it was called Heart Mountain Internment Camp. Middle of nowhere, just outside of Yellowstone National Park. Beautiful area. Completely desolate. They got there, and it's literally the high plains. High plains, high desert. They turned that around and were making beets during the war. You needed sugar. Sugar was in a low supply, so they completely transformed the area, brought in irrigation, brought in their knowledge about how to grow a whole bunch of different plants, but they were growing beets out there, shipping them off to help the war effort, help the nation there, help them with their sugar situation there. And then some of the people actually went and fought in Europe in World War II. And Bear, towards the very end of his screenplay, actually was coming across information that very possibly we actually had Japanese internees in the United States that actually helped liberate some of the camps over there in Germany. So, I mean, you talk about a good news story, a positive thing that you want to talk about. Horrible thing, internment camp, but interesting how history works out. So completely circular there. So, anyways, that is Bear's comment there. Maybe just learn math and reading, says Amy. I would just say forget math and reading, just critical thinking. Please, any teacher out there, let's start with critical thinking. That's what we need right away. I'm sure we would have had a lot more people alive in Hawaii today if there were some critical thinkers out there. Let's see, kids are having a hard enough time in school as is, that's true. Oh, I already read some of this. Let's see, read with comics. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, P-Money says, honestly, I don't personally care if a Bible or Harry Potter is in a public school library. I'll give a copy to my kids if I want to. I don't think we can have the Bible in the library. Well, it might be in there, but it's supposed to be more of an educational thing rather than, oh, we're gonna, all right, kids, let's sit down and talk scripture here. That's not gonna happen in the not gonna happen in the schools, at least here in the States, unfortunately. Let's see. He says, let me see. I'm sorry, people. I'm losing my track here. They dirty everything they touch, says Amy. Ooh. I don't want to spend my days worrying about what kinds of books are in school library. I know. This is the stupidest thing. Just make sure that there's plenty of stuff in there. Just all the classics. Some stuff that they could read. I mean, Harry Potter, whatever. As long as that turns the kids to reading, that's fine. But yeah, why we're so worried about, oh my God, what's going on in the school library? It's like, really, is this, or hey, which bathroom do you use? Like, critical thinking, people. This is common sense. Oh, don't worry about P-Money. Bear is ranting as well here. He says, but the idea of teachers keeping secrets from parents is kind of risky. Yes, indeed. The idea of secrets with teachers is terrifying to him. Counselors and psychiatrists are trained for confidentiality. Teachers are not. He goes on, a psychiatrist or a certified counselor, a different story. And as someone who works closely with a certified counselor, I know how important confidentiality is for him. Teachers should not do that. Well, I think there might be certain situations, like if you have like a child abuse situation at home, you should be able to have the student come in and talk with the teacher confidentially about that, without like the what do they call that, the children and family services out there, without them getting involved. Now, I mean, if it's really, 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 really bad, yeah, of course. But hey, I've got a bad situation at home. My dad spanks me too much or something like that. Yeah, come in with confidentiality without the kid worrying about, oh, I just turned in my dad, to to go to jail or something like that. I think there should be certain things that they should be able to talk about. But no, I agree with you. I agree with you, P-Money. Amy says you don't want a mad bear or a mad Papa P-Money. That's true. Gotta watch out. Got to watch out. She asked, critical thinking, how would you teach that apart from math and reading? I think she's saying. I'm just saying, you could teach reading, but it's not critically reading, I suppose, where you could say, okay, like we're doing here with the article here. Hey, here is this article, here's where this person's perspective is, but let's critically think on why the truth might be in between there somewhere. So that you might have somebody writing all this down, you're reading it, but you shouldn't take it verbatim. You should use your critical thinking to say, oh, okay, this, like for the example, the Tampa Bay stuff. They obviously have a bias and a viewpoint that they have, which is obviously against DeSantis out there. So if you just read it without critically thinking about it, then it's just information without it being knowledge or wisdom, I suppose. There you go. Slimmy Asparagus says, what in the world did YouTube recommend to me? Well, sir, we are here. It's just, the normal thing where there's bears talking about comics books. So there you go. There you go. Good to have you, sir. Good to have you. Hope you stick around, sir. Was going to talk more about comic books here, but got turned around here by Mr. George Takei, a.k.a. Sulu. A.k.a. Sulu out there. Anyways, good to have you here, sir. Good to have you here. He says, what is this? What the hell's going on here? It's just a bear hanging out, talking about comics, man. That's all that we're doing here. And, debate stuff that, I don't know. Is anybody watching the stupid debate tonight? Or even the Trump thing? I mean, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I got my Trump Space Force right there. That's all that I need. All that I needed. Gosh, I'm trying to remember who did that cover. It was a great cover. I don't recall if it was Chuck Dixon or not. I know he wrote it. Hashtag Dicks out for Dixon out there. Yes, indeed. Amy says there's a debate tonight. There is. Who cares? P-Money says, I'm Canadian. I rarely watch Canadian political debates. Well, that's why you're here. That's why everybody is here. All right. Well, including, we'll have to answer the question. What the hell is going on here? With our good news story out here, we have, from allthatisinteresting.com, a plague, people, of beer-drinking raccoons has caused a catastrophe. A catastrophe as they raid homes across Germany. Invasive raccoons. By the way, there they are. Aww. Just go aww. Invasive raccoons are proving to be quite a problem for the people of Germany, as they have developed a liking for German beer. And now spend their time breaking into people's homes and even killing their beloved pets. Aww, terrible. I guess you can't have a raccoon as a pet. Germany's raccoon population has gotten out of control. The country's National Hunting Association has said it killed a record 200,000 raccoons in 2022, an attempt to control the population. Oh, they're Germans and controlling the populations. I tell you, always going back to the old classics. Just 2 decades ago, the organization killed only 10,000 raccoons per year. It should be noted that raccoons are not a native species in Germany. They were, in fact, introduced to the country during the bad German rule. The problem, scientists say, is that raccoon is an unbelievably adaptable animal, and hunting efforts have only seemingly made things worse as the raccoons are reproducing faster than ever before. They're getting it on with that German beer. The population has grown so out of control that local media have called it a plague. Homeowners have reported raccoons entering their houses in the middle of the night and eating pet rabbits and fish. Delicious. And reportedly drinking beer. No wonder they're being slaughtered out there. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. The nature organization NAMBU said the raccoons are funny and clever, and they like beer, much like bear. Langerhurst himself has said raccoons alongside a lakeside knocking over beer bottles to drink the liquid inside. There we are. Here's some raccoons looking for some beer out there. Those raccoons better not be drinking Bud Light, says everybody. Well, maybe they're drinking all the leftover Bud Light that nobody else wants to drink. I don't think they have Bud Light in Germany. I know that their InBev is out of Germany, I believe, so maybe they might have it there, but no, any self-respecting German probably would go nowhere near any Bud products. Not at all. Not at all. Man, first beer cocaine addicts, now raccoon alcoholics. Hey, the wild is a wild place. Wild place, P-Money. Come on. You should know that by now. Grant, you missed the insanity of Takai while listening to Doc Savage. Well, there's only one bear on YouTube. Only one bear. Mr. Asparagus figured this out. He did. He says, what the hell's going on here? He says, hey, it's a bear on YouTube talking about comics. I mean, it is in the description there, so kind of put two and two together, but there you go. How dare you, sir? How dare you? You need to go back and rewatch all of Bear's... people, did Bear have a very good rant on George Takei? Was that a good rant for you good people? I hope so. I hope so. Bear brought the knowledge. You know, everybody's... Oh, well, we gotta talk about it on religious terms, or we gotta talk about it on, you know, sexual terms, blah, blah, blah. No, let's do it head on. Bear knows his internment history. We're gonna take it head on. Mr. Sulu. If that is your real name. So yes, go check it out. Go check it out. By the way, Bear has. It might take some time here, people. It might take some time. But if you do want, if you ever miss out, you want to say, hey, Bear, I missed out. Didn't get a chance to check out the show. We have an entire channel just archived just for the live show. So there you go. Go check it out right there. Go check it out right there. Or in the description. Bears need to start a tab for raccoons. Hell no. Those raccoons need to pay for it themselves. Ay. Let's see. Grant says, I don't drink beer hardly ever these days. But I'm not a raccoon, he says. Or are you? No, his real name isn't Sulu. Oh, thank you, Amy. Thank you. Interning people is more merciful than chopping off body parts. How about a none of the above? How about we just go with none of the above? Bear tries to give a little slack to Mr. Takei since he was going through all this stuff, but really trying to compare the internment to what's going on here in Florida. You really have to stretch it out. I mean, way stretch things out here. Way stretch it out. To exemplify just how quickly the raccoons have overtaken Germany, the population began with just about 24 members of the species in the 1930s. I wonder what happened in Germany in the 1930s. I don't know. Drawing a blank there. I won't go here. Don't want to have any triggering words out there for the YouTube algorithm, but there you go. If you want to check it out, it is in the description, people. This is true, Grant. He says it's impossible to see if I'm a raccoon. I have a mask. I might be the Lone Ranger. Either or. Either or. All right, people, one last one here that we got. I think we're going to go ahead, end it on a bang here. Or maybe a woohoo. Woohoo! From the New York Post, Jack Hobbs. Super Mario star announces retirement, people. It's a sad day. Very sad day. You are all number one in my heart, he says. Number one. Mamma mia. Charles Martinet. There we go. There's a great picture. Look at there. Pretty cool. Both of them are having fun. Charles Martinet, the voice actor behind Nintendo's famous animated plumber, Super Mario, has announced his retirement from voicing the character in any upcoming projects. Charles has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Wow. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from the recording character voices for our games, Nintendo says. But he'll continue to travel the world, sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that, and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. Martinet67 later shared the statement on his own account, adding, "My new adventure begins. You are now number one in my heart." He might not have said it that way. The Post reached out for comment. He has voiced the mustachioed plumber since 1991 and recorded several of Mario's iconic catchphrases, including, let's try it here, people, "Let's go. Mamma mia. And wahoo." Let me try that one again. Wahoo. There we go. You got to do it right there. Wahoo. Appearing in nearly 150 Nintendo titles, Martinet has also voiced other characters, including Mario's trusted sidekick and brother Luigi, and the duo's arch rivals Wario and Waluigi. That's a mouthful. Martinet also recently appeared as a cameo in the star-studded Super Mario Bros. Movie, which starred Chris Pratt, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Jack Black. Jack Black was the voice of Bowser, right? Kind of an interesting one there. Several fans reached out to the voice actor to thank him for the work and the role he played in the lives of Mario. P. Mike says, "Not a bad wahoo bear." Thank you. Thank you, sir. I hope he's okay. I would assume, I mean, he's going to be an ambassador traveling around the world, so, maybe they're going to bring Chris Pratt in to voice Mario. I don't know. Don't know. His retirement announcement, "It's no longer me, Mario." I'm sure it's old age, says P-Money. I mean, we are talking like he's 80. He started, right? Talking like the 80s he started. So there you go. He is, I want to say 60-something? 67. 67 there. So there you go. There you are. "Your work has inspired me since I was a child," posted one fan. "As a kid, I was inspired by Mario's fun-loving and determined adventures. And as an adult, you've inspired me in what it means to be a voice actor, and more importantly, a good person. Thank you, and enjoy this new adventure." Wow, what a great comment. I mean, sometimes you get the internet and it's like, it's all negative stuff, but that's great. That's great. "Thanks for everything, Charles. You're still our one-up boy," wrote a second account. "Thank you for being part of my entire childhood with the presence of your voice. Thank you for accompanying my adventures in each game through the Mushroom Kingdom," gushed a third person. "Thank you for everything, Charles. You are a legend." That would be our legend. "Mario. It's a Mario." He wants a nap. He's almost 70, says Grant. That's right, he's tired. Amy says, "I hope it's a long, healthy, and happy retirement." Again, he's not retiring. He's still part of the Nintendo. He's still working with them. He's just not going to voice Mario. He's just going to go around and, I'm sure different press events or something like that they need a Mario out there. He's going to be their brand ambassador. So there you go. Good stuff. No, he looks healthy. I don't know the date of this image there, but he looks healthy. He needs a more spaghetti and a meatballs. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, people. All right. Well, anyways, there is our good news story to kind of round things out. You take it on the nose here with George Takei, but you gotta round it out with Mario here. Gotta round it out with some good stuff. I mean, you don't want to start with the good stuff and then end it on a negative note. You want to put your bad news out first, and then kind of end it on a hopeful note, a cheery note, as it were, a cheery note, a Cheerios. Amy met him at a convention and says he's a sweet guy. Well, congratulations, Amy. Congratulations. I hope you got a signature. Hope you got to have a Mario signature out there. Did he give you a woohoo? Woohoo! I hope so. Quite the show, says P-Money. Takai, an alcoholic, raccoons, and a Mario. Mario. There you go. I tell you. You know, not many places can handle multiple venues like that, but that's why Bear is a professional. Well, semi-professional. But don't tell Mr. Asparagus out there that will be our little secret. Oh, he called Amy a beautiful princess. Aww. That's just awesome, Amy. No wonder she has a personal investment in all this. That's true. That is true. Here we are. Bear is a professional, but he cannot accomplish a professional show. For shame. For shame. Well, he's trying. Definitely trying, as it were. As it were, people. As it were. Well, anyways, want to say thank you to everybody out there. Do appreciate. We'll try and get back to some of the books, maybe on the next episode or something like that. Again, I gotta go through all of them, but yeah, I mean, got some other books there. That's a thick book, man. Tells you all about it, people. If you ever wanted to know about the samurais in Briere. Hi-ya! Actually, there was no kung fu, I promise you. But interesting stories out there. Do make sure you go check out the playlist if you do want to hear more about that. I don't have the link right in front of me there. Just go search through the playlist and you'll find it. It can't happen here. Do go check it out. Bear put in some effort. Had P-Money back then. Oh, it's great stuff. Great stuff. Oh, thank you, Amy. I am doing great. Bear is doing great. Yes, he is. There we go. Anyways, George Takei taken out by Bear here. There we go. Anyways, I want to thank everybody. Let's see. Amy, Melissa, Grant, P-Money. Gosh, I thought I saw Jiminy Cricket here. I guess he left. I will have to ban him on Ethan's channel. That's all right. We'll figure it out. And some new people out here. Great to see Mr. Asparagus out here. Slimy Asparagus. Hopefully you'll come back. Yes, indeed. All right, people. But you know what? All this talk is making Bear hungry. So he's gonna head back into the woods. So until next time, people, grrr.